Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Feed Me Pixels review and recommendation series. I'm your host today, Larry the Chupacabra, and we're going to be checking out the game Cross of the Dutchman by Triangle Studios Game Design and Development. And if you're not super familiar with Triangle Studios, they are the same diabolic masterminds behind It Came from Outer Space to Eat Our Brains, which is a action-adventure game, or action-adventure shooter game, that pits you against all manner of gnarly aliens that would just as soon eat your delicious innards as say hello to you. And Cross of the Dutchman, then, is in a similar vein. It's an action RPG, action-adventure hack-and-slash game that takes you through the life and times of a Western European medieval folk hero, Pierre Donia, who rose to fame, fortune, and renown by fending off the massive invading hordes of the Saxon army, and then saving his friends and countrymen so that, you know, their insides stayed on the insides of their bodies, and they didn't get, like, I don't know, taxed or extorted or anything. So we're gonna jump in here today and have a look-see at the story, the gameplay mechanics, the graphics, and then wrap it up with a nice synopsis. How does that sound? Pretty good? Okay, so I've played through a little bit further into the game. We're not going to start from the very beginning for this review, but our friend John here, he needs us to help him fend off evil Saxon invading brigands who have taken over his farm, probably in retaliation for the fact that I stole some fish back from them earlier today when they were extorting the fishmonger whom my wife wanted to get some fish from for dinner. So I was sitting down to a lovely meal in a countryside full of gold, and John came up and was like, "Oh my gosh, Pierre, I need your help." So that's what we're gonna go and do today. Of course, checking all the barrels to make sure that they don't have any hidden loot in them. So, alright. Here we are in the old crossroads, but, uh-oh. John says that they've blocked the road, so we're gonna have to deal with these saucy fellows. Here they are, and they look rough, tough, and tumble. They got some armor on, they got some swords that are presumably pointy and stabby. Let's see what they've got to say. Oh, a swordsman here. Well. Who do we have here? Remove your men from that farm this instant. Aha, and what if we don't? Then I'm gonna murder your face. Alright. So, not too bad. I mean, we've been working on the farm and in the field our whole life, so we're pretty ripped. I mean, Pierre might skip leg day, but he certainly doesn't skip arm day or hoist day. Oh man, John is pretty impressed with our strength. Well, there are more soldiers up ahead, John. You'd better prepare your butt. Alright, so what do we got up in here? Oh no, this farm is just full of them. I'm not sure what we can do. I mean, 1 or 2 soldiers, that's easy enough to deal with, but I don't know, John. Do you have some sort of plan for if we've got more people than that? Like, as if your host, Larry the Chupacabra, has got some sort of ridiculous uppercut. Oh my goodness, Pierre, how did you get so strong? Was it that blacksmith you bribed earlier? Must be. Oh man. So, Cross of the Dutchman is a game all about, the gameplay is really a lot of running from one quest to another, and fighting off soldiers, and gathering, your compatriots, your other companions, who will help you fight off the invading Saxon horde and, you know, drive them out of the region, and then doing some more fighting. It's a little bit back and forth. And it's all broken up in a way that tries to introduce you to the Robin Hood-esque adventures of Pierre Donia, and how exactly he came to be as renowned as he was. Oh man, I guess they also kidnapped John's wife. Uh-oh. Perhaps those gnarly soldiers in town know what happened to her. Hey, flippin' better, John, or I'm gonna be so saucy. So, unsurprisingly, in Cross of the Dutchman, there isn't really an exorbitant amount of challenge to be derived from the combat. Almost immediately, you talk to that blacksmith I was mentioning before, and he teaches you how to unlock your inner rage and, like, one-shot pretty much everybody in the game. And then once you find these vendors, you can unlock more powers that make your one-shot ability even more ridiculous to the point where it's almost like a slapstick gag from the Three Stooges. It borders on not only the hilarious, but the ridiculous. So we'll just knock those guys around in the snoot. There we go. Good news is, also on that sort of, like, not all that challenging, if your companion that you're with has a name, just like in the movies, probably not gonna die anytime soon. Oh, we've got a recruit here. Oh, please don't kill me, sir. I'll tell you where they have taken that farmer's wife. Oh, speak, coward. But lie to me and I swear it will be the end of you. I'll name you something else like Timmy and I'll make you work on my farm for at least a week scooping manure. Oh, well, they've taken his wife to that farm just across that bridge behind you. I'll signal the guards that the coast is clear and they'll lower that bridge over there. Oh, well, ratting out your own men. Huh. I'll let you go, but you better stay away from those soldiers from now on. They will have heard of what you've done on probably Yelp. And, are you kidding? Oh no, what have I done? Alright, well, he's gonna take off. But, yeah, even in this game, when you start to encounter some of the ranged attackers, it doesn't get too challenging for combat, but we are now seeing one of the few ways that Cross of the Dutchman actually does a decent job of trying to offer a bit of gameplay that breaks up the monotony of chatting to people and going on fetch errands, and that is the occasional stealth section, where we have to avoid all of these guards and their light spheres with their lanterns, and sneak through in order to, like, free prisoners, in this case, or to gather sweet, saucy loot. But, you know, Larry doesn't work for free, so Larry's gotta get himself some sweet, delicious hidden gold. Which is another thing that you'll find in this game. But the main thing to take away from this is that they do an okay job with these stealth missions of both challenging you, because later stealth missions in this game are the only thing that's caused me to replay a section more than once or twice. Oh, it's John's wife. Who are you? Oh, stay away from me. Oh, but shh. Quiet, woman. We've got to get you out of here. Your husband is waiting for you. Oh, my savior, thank you. Oh, did you really? Did you just yell when there's murdery people nearby, lady? Are you for realsies right now? Oh, don't you shush me. Just get me to safety this instant. Oh, man. So this is one of the few times when, like, the sheer number of soldiers might become an issue. If you're not really paying attention, or you're not willing to kind of, like, kite things around. But for the most part, with the combat, you just kind of kite people around, and you get them all nice and bundled up. And then you can knock them all into, like, low Earth orbit. Like, at least one of those guys who went sailing into the river got to see Sputnik, that old Russian satellite. So he's had a learning experience tonight. But really, sheer numbers are the only thing that's going to try to really pose any type of danger to your well-being in this game. You know what, John's wife? You're being awfully surly with me. Don't you sass me, lady. I just murdered, like, how many people in front of you? Don't you even sass the Chupacabra today. But yeah, that's basically the combat. Here, I'll just show you guys some of the other types of abilities that you can find. You really don't need a lot of upgrades in this game. Like, I showed you guys that you can run around and you can find different upgrades via going around and getting gold in the woods. So there's a lot of areas in this game kind of off the beaten path where they like to hide delicious gold. This is the province of Frisia in Europe. I'm not sure what they call their currency. Probably Frisians or Lord Frieza coins. I don't know. Something about over 9,000. And once you get a couple of upgrades in this game, you really don't need any more. They're pretty overpowered just right off the bat. And that just kind of makes the only real emphasis on exploration a little bit unnecessary to go out and find and to hoard boatloads of gold, because when I was first playtesting Cross of the Dutchman, I ended up with like an excess of like 600 to 800 gold, and I don't think I did a single thing with it. And I mean, they got like all sorts of stuff, like these crates back here that you can bash open. So it is nice to explore this world, but it also isn't very encouraged in like a subtle way. That and a lot of these areas, just because of the linear nature of Cross of the Dutchman's story, they tend to be locked off, which makes it even harder to try and explore. Ah, John, thank heavens you saved her, Pierre. Oh yes, don't mention it. I didn't expect those soldiers to come in such great numbers. Well, I'm afraid we're not the only ones who were attacked. The mill on the road to Kinsward has been taken as well. We need to go there immediately and help them. All right, John, settle down. I hope this isn't retaliation for that fish thing this morning. Quickly, we gotta go there before they burn the frickin' mill down. All right, John, let's go do the stuff with the things. Like, here's a good example. This gate was here just a couple minutes ago, but now it's not. And going through this path is about the same as swinging down south and going all the way up and around to go and rescue his wife. So it doesn't make a super load of sense. So some of the way that Triangle Studios handles the pathing is a bit janky in this game. So, you know. So let's see, we got some more hidden goodies back here. We got some more gold. I mean, God knows peasants just love to leave their sweet, delicious gold lying around next to some cows. You got some low-poly cows back here. But I guess we'll chitter-chatter about the story. So, the story of Pierre Donia tends, and Cross of the Dutchman for that matter, tends to mirror or be very similar to your run-of-the-mill Robin Hood type tale, where you go out as sort of like a John Everyman, or turning into a John Everyman in the case of Robin of Locksley, losing his family fortune. And then you have to go and, like, gather up a ragtag band of bandits in order to save the townspeople. Very heroic, minus the whole robbing from the rich to give to the poor thing. And you've even got a few people that mirror. Like, there's a Little John in this game, and there's also, like, a Friar Tuck that you meet later. It's oddly similar. I think this tale, because it's based on a true story, or supposedly based on a true story, probably evolved around the same time as the Robin Hood story. So, you know, it's not bad, but the one downside to the story of Cross of the Dutchman is while it's very relaxing and it keeps you busy with different missions and hacking, slashing, and sneaking, it's also very shallow on the story side of things. Oh, here we go. Here's the miller. Oh, there you are. How do we get to the mill, Miller? Oh, well, I'm afraid you'll have to go through one of those roadblocks, Pierre. Those soldiers kicked us out as well. Oh, well, there must be a weakness in their defenses. Perhaps you'll have some luck with the roadblock just east of here. There are fewer guards there. Maybe you'll be able to get through. Well, it's worth a shot. But what I mean by a lack of depth to this game is that you don't really learn about people's motivations. Like, this Miller guy, for example, all you know is that he's just some guy, his name's the Miller, and he owns and works at the mill. I don't know why he's the Miller, I don't know why they have a mill, whose purpose it is to keep floodwaters from flooding half of the towns that are downstream of it. In fact, I didn't even realize they had pumping technology back in this day and age. But you really don't even learn a lot of information about the main character either. He's just like, he's a heroic guy, he likes to help people, and that's as far as it goes. And, I don't know, if you need a lot of depth to your RPG action, then Cross of the Dutchman's probably not gonna have what you're looking for. The good news, however, though, is this is the kind of game that you can just kind of tune out. It's at the end of a long day. Maybe it's a game you want to buy for your kids because it's kind of a storybook narrative. And you can kind of just tune out and just go on some missions to gather stuff and do some things. And then very quickly finish it. Don't have to really pay too much attention or go through too much information. And you're good to go. I mean, oh, here we go. We get a little bit more information with this nice illustrated cutscene of panning images. There's a horde of Saxon soldiers coming for the mill to burn it down, but only reaction Pierre has is adrenaline rushes through his mighty veins. Oh man, no, he didn't skip leg day. Look at that bad mamma jamma wearing what looks like women's undergarments. Oh, this is gonna be the toughest fight of Pierre's life to date. Oh boy. Alright, so we're gonna have to fend these bad boys off with our friend John. Thankfully, John's got not armor, so we should be safe. And up, here we go. Here we're gonna start to encounter some of the most annoying enemies in this game, the archers. And the archers aren't really dangerous. They're about as dangerous as the soldiers when they get into large numbers. But the thing with the archers are, like, the archers use, like, the frickin' bows from that Crisis game. If they're like crazy, like space alien technology bows that are like laser guided, and they have like murder missiles that can train on you through times and dimension abound. They're a little ridiculous. Like no manner of serpentining or like dodging or doing a barrel roll like that Space Fox. No manner of any of that is going to save you from them. So the only real dynamic in the combat is bludgeoning the pants off of those archers. The good news is, though, it does add a certain amount of flair to combat, so you do have to pay attention to at least one thing, or you'll get your fanny knocked off. So, again, our buddy John probably not gonna die while we recover a little bit of health here. And let's knock that bad boy on his butt, because I don't like the archers, they're super annoying. The one thing I can say about the combat that's super satisfying is when you actually get a huge group of these Saxon guys together and then, like, bludgeon them, and I mean, like, probably like 50 or more, it's really awesome to see them just fly in every which direction and then just careen into space and beyond. And I mean, like, to the point where I've actually almost crashed the game because so much, like, particle effects were going on. Oh no, more soldiers! Quickly, John, defend your person. And also there's like a general dude here, so he's like the one thing we can't one-shot. Alright, sweet. Oh boy, that was a tough one, John. We barely made it. Oh hey, the Miller's here. Yeah, we did do it, Miller. I'm glad you approve. Oh man, just let me catch my breath for a minute. Oh, Pierre, do you realize that you've just saved the hundreds of people? Entire villages would have been lost if they had burned down the mill. It's okay, I just want to go back home if you don't mind. Alright, so I guess we'll segue then into the graphics segment as we return John to his wife. And the graphics in this game, they're not super photorealistic and they're quite low polygon count, but at the same time, like you saw in that cinematic, a lot of the appeal of Cross of the Dutchman is it's kind of like a hand-illustrated storybook appeal, like, you know, 100 Acre Woods, Winnie the Pooh, Christopher Robin, Bastion, sorts of stuff like that. And you run through these environments that do look a little bit hand-drawn and painted. They do fit together pretty well, and despite the fact that they're not the most high-res thing out there, they do a good job of not making any of the environment look papery, like you can see just like textures layered together in a hexagon shape. They do a good job of making it look correct, make it feel like it flows together, fits together. So I haven't had too many complaints in that department, although I wouldn't mind it if somebody took another crack at animating all of the different characters in this game. Mostly because if you look at Pierre, even in the daytime as I'm kind of cutting in some more footage from when I played through the game in its entirety, he runs very stiffly. It's very janky. It looks kind of weird, like he's got a broomstick for a spine. And that's pretty characteristic of a lot of the different animations in the game as far as characters are concerned. Although they do have a pretty decent ragdoll mechanic. I mean, when characters go flying, like their joints just go free flowing. They go on a aerial acrobatics adventure. The music's pretty good too. I mean, they offer a soundtrack for the Digital Deluxe Edition if you buy that. And it's alright. I like the music, it's very relaxing. And the only thing I have issue with some of the sounds for combat, they feel like they don't have enough variety there, and some of those sounds seem like they're kind of rough, they're kind of scratchy, like they haven't spent enough time refining those audio effects yet, but on the whole, Cross of the Dutchman makes for a very nice game. It's kind of like, how would I describe it? It's kind of like Timmy and Sally's first RPG adventure in Storybook Land. Meeting a very family-friendly hero, Pierre Donia, who doesn't really like violence, but knows when to use it to save his friends, his family, and his neighbors. So, to sum up Cross of the Dutchman then for the outro synopsis, this is a game for a more casual audience who kind of just wants to experience a nice, fun, warm story, but don't necessarily need the same type of depth that a more hardcore RPG player would need. You know, they don't have a very open world, they don't have a lot of depth to the story, there's not a lot of background information that you learn about these characters to really connect with them. So it's something that you kind of just, you come home from work, maybe some kid comes home from school and they got this as a birthday present, and you just kind of relax, tune out, hack and slash through some soldiers, sneak around some bushes, and have a good time. And I did enjoy this to a certain extent, but I did find it fairly lacking in the challenge department and the story department. So I think that's it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to buy this game, you can get it for $8.99 for the regular edition, or $10.99 for the Digital Deluxe Edition. You probably want to wait, though. You probably want to get it on a sale. There's a small sale going on right now, because Cross of the Dutchman just came out on September 10th. It's like 15% off. But for the most part, I'd probably say this is a game that you wait for a sale, get it for like $2 to $5, and then you probably get your money's worth, because this game finishes about, you can finish Cross of the Dutchman in roughly 3 to 5 hours. It's not a lot of gameplay, but it does keep you immersed, it does keep you busy, and you won't be twiddling your thumbs for too long on some of these missions. So I guess that's it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining me, your host, Larry the Chupacabra, on the Feed Me Pixels Reviews and Recommendations series. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. They've got a lot of great content. They do streams and other YouTube videos, and they've got a full streaming schedule. You can see all types of and all sorts of video games, a lot of different personalities that fill up their streaming schedule behind the camera. So check them out if you haven't already. And if you're interested in more content by yours truly, Larry the Chupacabra, you can find me on my channel on YouTube, youtube.com/user/Larry the Chupacabra. I'm sure the good folks over at Feed Me Pixels will have a link in the description that you can use. So, until next time, have a good one, everybody, and toodaloo!